Why did no one tell me about these freaking Barbie movies?
The greatest new dancing Barbie and rockers return!
So we all know the gist of like what a Barbie movie is, and like we all kind of know about the Barbie movies, right? Like we've all seen Barbie and the Nutcracker, we've all seen Barbie Magic of Pegasus, we've all seen Barbie and the Island Princess, movies. We all know the computer animated, the CGI of it, how like, we all know about like how the newer ones are kind of trashy. Recently, for this thing that my roommates and I want to do called presentation night, you know that like TikTok trend where like you and your roommates make like slideshows about literally whatever and present them to each other and it's all fun and stuff. We watched Barbie and the Island Princess the other night, and the design of Queen Ariana, as an animation major, I felt the need to go through and fix it. And I decided to turn my entire presentation into doing that, but with different Barbie movie villains. But that led me down this rabbit hole. I discovered these two Barbie movies from the 80s that no one's talked about, that I've never heard of anywhere. And why don't we talk about them? They're TV movies. They're like 30 minutes each-ish. I think the second one is like maybe 32 minutes. Why has no one told me about this? What? So apparently in the 1980s there was like this like decline in the sale of Barbies, even though I'm a little confused as to my research. I found things saying that there was a decline in sales. I found a thing saying that there was like an influx in sales. I think that the influx was probably because of the movies, but like I've literally never heard anyone ever mention these movies, ever. The movies are called Barbie and the Rockers Out of This World, and then the second one was released a year later, and it's called Barbie and the Sensations. What? They're these TV movies, right? They're 30 minutes each. But they have cover art, they have animation. I've never seen anything like about these ever in my entire life. They have like the animation style of like the 80s He-Man cartoons. I think they were straight to VHS because I don't know. Rock sensation Barbie and her band The Rockers, beloved by everyone all around the world, decide to do something brand new that has ever been done before. Perform a charity rock concert in outer space. First of all, the grammar of this is, I copied and pasted this straight from IMDb. Horrible. Google Slides is having an entire seizure. Also, I haven't watched these movies yet. You're about to get my little summary and everything, but what? It's the 80s, I guess. They're just like, well, we're just gonna go to space. Also, the synopsis for the second movie is insane. I'm skipping around a lot. The first movie has like there's a bunch of people that either helped direct or voice the characters themselves that are like, they're in other things that make you go, what? The guy that voices Ken plays Warlord in the Deadpool movies. He's just there. And then the voice of Barbie actually went on to direct, her name is Sharon Lewis. She went on and directed Chicago Med, FBI Most Wanted, and Star Trek The New World, Strange New Worlds. And then there was, the IMDb of these movies is fucking weird because it has like the voice actor for Barbie, the voice actor for Ken, and then just lists of names, and then in parentheses next to it, it says voice. It doesn't say who they're voicing or the name of the characters. It's just freaking weird. But there's this guy named John Payne who he has his own IMDb, and he voiced a lot of like G.I. Joe movies and there weren't any off the top of my head that I recognized, except for one, which was Bratz Fashion Pixies. He voices a side character named Mel. But I was just like, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of interesting. Literally the next year after this movie came out, they released the second one, the sequel, which is called Barbie and the Sensations. So they go back to Earth, but they also travel through time, and all of a sudden it's the 1950s. The synopsis reads, in this sequel to Barbie and the Rockers Out of This World, worldwide rock sensation Barbie and her band return from space only to end up in 1950s America. Their music knocks the socks off everyone there as well. These movies were made in the 80s! The 1950s was like 30 years ago for them! And it's fucking weird! And like they made dolls for it, and the dolls are just like wearing the poofy like poodle dresses. Weren't the 1950s, wasn't that a horrible time period for like women and people of color? What is this movie? What are these movies? Also, in doing my research for this presentation that I'm doing for that roommate presentation night, I made a list of sources because I found a lot and I wanted to go back and look at it. And originally this stuff was just like, oh, this video is about like the making of the Nutcracker and like how they used like the CGI animation and like how they had like an actual professional choreographer come in and like choreograph the dances for like the ballet and stuff. And then they had like the CGI of it and everything. And then like I have like a Wikipedia article about like all the Barbie like the films, so like the well-known ones, not this. Like these movies, these like 30-minute little like movie short things are not on here anywhere. And then there's like, and then I just found the movies on YouTube, so I guess we're gonna watch the movies. Also, I love that the Ted Nevison video about all the Barbie movies is up in the corner. This video is super inspired by that, by the way, if you couldn't kind of tell. But also my own, like, freaking thoughts, you know? Anyway, here's the movie. When I was looking it up, it said that the first movie was, like, 30 minutes, but this video is 21:01. So I guess we're gonna see what happens. Click. One of the first things I noticed right off the bat about this movie is that the soundtrack like slaps so hard for no reason. It goes so hard. It's playing again. It's playing the theme song again. They just played the same animation like 3 times in a row. What is this movie? So I have some thoughts. It's not a bad movie, right? There have been worse things, but it's also, that was very chaotic. There were a lot of parts where they reused the same animations. There were a lot of parts where like they transitioned before people stopped talking, and like they're just like the most like fucking smash cut freaking and like they're really funny. The plot of this movie is so weird. There's no villain. Nothing bad happens. It's just like, oh, we're gonna go do this. But part of me kind of wonders, like, if you think way too hard, maybe Barbie's the villain. She kind of just, she's the ambassador of world peace, apparently. And also the most famous singer in the entire world. The plot of this movie is that she is the most popular singer in the on the planet, to the point where she has performed in every single country and like sold out shows literally everywhere, to where the entire world is obsessed and loves her. There's a part where this British girl is all, tickets to her concert are harder to come by than an audience with the Queen. Like, but it's like, she's the first ambassador for world peace, and they don't expound on that. They don't talk about like how she got there or what. They're just like, oh, she's famous and she sings and she's in this band and she's the ambassador for world peace. This movie is so weird. So the movie opens up with this concert, right, where she's performing, and it kind of like gives a little montage with like a bunch of magazines and like different news reporters and stuff saying things about her career and how successful she is. And they talk about, like I was saying, how she's the ambassador for world peace, and there's this part where she's being interviewed and she kind of just like stares blankly at everyone except for this one girl who comes up to her, and she's all like, so you've conquered the entire world. What could you possibly do to top yourself? And all she says is, I can't tell you yet. I've got something special in the works. And like, and then at some point, she keeps saying throughout the movie, she keeps saying the name of the movie. She keeps going, and it's out of this world. And this is out of this world.
Come on, Barbie, tell us.
I'll only say one thing. It's going to be out of this world.
And it's just, calm down. Also, there's a part where, like, after all the interviews are over, she drives away. Like, her and her band are they meet up and they get into their van and they drive away. But first off, Barbie is the most successful person in this universe, right? She's sold out every single country. Everybody knows her name. She's the ambassador of world peace. And her band drive around in a fucking, like, clunky ass van that has fucking smoke coming out the back. I know it's the 80s, but they had limos, right? Like, what is girl doing? And then, just watch this clip.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm starved.
Yeah.
So am I. Too.
Where to?
Where else?
Clouds in the sky!
Clouds in the sky. What is this movie? They just fucking what in the Dyson air vacuum are they freaking ah. And then there's this part where like part of me feels like Barbie is like this whole thing is like Barbie's like paradise or something, because the way people interact in this movie is just so weird and like stale and robotic, and like people have like the tiniest problem. Literally all she does is she goes, oh, it's gonna be okay, and then literally everyone claps. Like, what? That's an actual scene that happens.
Dee Dee, what's wrong?
I guess I'm just a little blue now that the tour's over.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, after all the excitement and nothing planned.
What are we gonna do next, Barbie? Hey, gang! Things are going to be fine. Believe me.
And then they're like, oh, Barbie, you know how to cheer us up. She said it was gonna be okay. She said a normal sentence. What? So the plot progresses and she gets this letter in the mail and everyone's all excited and they're like, oh my god, open it, open it, open it. This random dude goes, open it! Calm. Bro, chill. So she gets this letter, and this letter ends up being an invitation to this ball that they're holding in her honor. And I guess that ball is literally like the next hour, because they're immediately like, oh, we gotta go get ready. And so it's like, this ball is in honor of her, and they give her like it feels like fucking maybe 2 hours notice. And then she's like, we gotta go get ready. And she turns to Ken, who, by the way, 80s Ken in this movie, why doesn't he look like that in every other universe? I would have, the boy crush I would have had if I would have fucking seen Ken as a kid in this movie specifically with the hair. 80s Ken walked so Ross Lynch could run. I'm telling you, I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, so they're all like, oh my god, the ball, woo, woo, woo. She turns to Ken and she's all, will you be my prince in this for this ball? It's like a fairy tale. And he's like, of course, because he's just there to be her boyfriend and whatever. And then like, she turns to like her friends, like the girlfriends, and she's all, she turns to one of the girls and she I quote, "Diva, what am I?" And then it smash cuts to like a montage of them getting ready.
What an honor. And a ball. It's just like out of a fairy tale. Oh, Ken, will you be my Prince Charming?
With pleasure.
But Diva, what am I going to wear?
I've discovered I'm in love with you.
It cuts them off so bad, and it does that like 3 more times in this movie, and it's crazy. Already, and they got all spiffy, and they put on their crowns and get all sparkly and stuff. And wait, so it's just except just Barbie and Ken go to this event. Like the other people don't. It's just them, even though they're the band, which feels weird. It does this really cute, really cool transition that I kind of really liked as an animator. They have this animation that they do, this transition where she runs down the stairs and she greets him and they start dancing. And they dance and it spins and they spin until the next scene where they're at the ball. It was scrummy, and like the floor kind of like turns pink and it's kind of like wine for a second, and I don't know why, but I was just anyway. So they're dancing, right? They're dancing at this ball. Everybody's having a grand old time. Everybody's like chatting and the symphony's playing music and it's this whole thing, and they're like watching Barbie dance and and then Barbie just like stops dancing and runs up to the stage and like whispers something to the guy that's like conducting, and like everybody just goes, "What? Huh?" And the music stops and she gets on stage mid-song, like in the middle of a song. She could have waited like 2 minutes. She was fine. But she gets on stage mid-song. She interrupts. She gets on the stage and she's all, "Oh my god, everybody, so this is the plan. We're gonna go perform in space." And they're like, and everybody's just like, "Oh, okay, whoa!" And it's like nobody questions it. But then it cuts to her being back later after the ball with her, like with the rockers, and they're all, "What?" She didn't tell them until after the ball. She announced to the entire world that they were gonna go play in fucking space of all places, and then went and told everybody.
Outer space?
Like, she didn't even ask if they were okay with it. One guy was like, I don't know, and then she was like, "Oh, it's fine, it's gonna be okay," and then it was good, and then nobody questions anything. It's really weird. The part where it kind of sort of feels like in WandaVision where she like censors her own stuff. It's kind of weird, but she's like, there's this character named Derek who kind of looks like Prince Eric. I don't know how to explain it, but he like is the last person to put his hand on the little circle and like agree with everything, and he's all like, "Well, I don't know, like, how are we gonna do it? That's kind of like a lot, and we don't have a lot of time." And she's like, "You're right, Derek, but with hard work." And then it smash cuts into the fucking montage.
Okay.
All right!
Let's do that!
Wait. It's not that I don't think it's a fantastic idea, because it is. It's just, there's so much to do so quickly.
You're right, Derek, but with hard work...
Do you believe in magic?
And then it's so confusing. It's so unclear about like how long it took them to get. They just suddenly have a rocket and they have like suits and like it's like nothing ever happened. And then it's how long did it take them? Did they just have a Barbie rocket in stock? It's the 80s. We went to the moon 10 years ago. What is going on? Well, I guess it's probably more closer to 17 years ago because it was released in 1987. Still, what? They just have a rocket with Barbie on it, on hand? They're just chilling? What? And then they get onto and then they just like get on the rocket and they're just like vibing and they have all their suits on and then they all get all buckled in and such like they do, and then they have like a classic countdown scene, except the countdown dude counts down like way too fast. So he's like, "You have 12 seconds." And then he's like, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. And it's like, It stresses me out. I don't know. It stressed me out. I didn't like that part. I skipped like 3 seconds so I don't have to hear it. And then there's also this like weird thing, this weird like thought I'm having in the back of my head the whole time I'm watching this. This movie, I know it came out in the 80s, right? Like that was clearly a different time period. Is Barbie racist in this movie? Cause she's so like, oh my god, world peace and everyone in love and harmony, and like there's a part at the end where she says goodbye in like every language or something. But it's like they get someone to do like a Chinese person impression, and like some of the designs for some of the Asian characters is like kind of weird. And then there's like, so they blast off into space, right? And then they get out far enough to where they can see the Earth, and they're all like, oh my god, it's Earth, it's so pretty, as you do when you go into space. Casual Tuesday. And she's like, she says, and I quote, hold on, how did she say it? She says, our own world with so many different people. Why did you hesitate? Like, it just feels weird. And like the crowds and everything are like, it's all white people unless it's supposed to not be. And it just feels really weird, and I don't know how to talk about it. Or like if I'm overthinking it, or if I'm stupid. It just feels icky. And then there's like, in the rockers, there's a singular black girl. And like, I know it was the 80s and they did the like, oh, we gotta have our one singular representation. I don't know. It just feels weird. It feels like, I don't know how to explain it. And then, anyway, again, and then they say the name of the movie again. She's like, it's out of this world. Go to bed. Like, and then, anyway, so then they pull up to this spaceship in the fucking middle of nowhere in space that's shaped like a flower, and it's weird. It feels wrong. It feels like this is the part in the movie where like they would pull up and then they discover, oh, all these scientists that are on this spaceship for some reason are evil actually, and then you guys gotta fight them and get back to Earth and restore world peace or something. Like that, it seems like that might be like the direction that this movie is going, but it's like already halfway over. And they just like pull up and the scientists are like chilling. They're just Barbie's biggest fans. And they're like, oh yeah, the rockers are here too, but Barbie! Ah! Like the rockers are so like ignored, and like I don't remember most of their names. Or like, it was just weird. But so they pull up, and then like they have this montage where they the scientist takes all the girls to this room, and it's like this giant like dressing room, but for some reason it's anti-gravity even though the rest of the spaceship has gravity, and it's freaking weird. So they start like getting ready, and it's this cool montage. I admit this montage is cool, where they're just like throwing makeup around and doing it while they're floating and stuff, and like there's a part where they stand in front of a mirror and they're all like, well, are we hot? And then one of the girls is like, definitely hot. And like, okay. They also keep saying hot a lot. I don't know if that was a thing in the 80s, but that they do that a lot. And then like, so the thing is, they just go perform. Like it's nothing. Like they don't like prepare or anything. They don't like warm up. They're like, oh yeah, so you're gonna go perform right there in the middle of that circle with all these lights and stuff, and it's gonna be telecasted for the entire world to see, and then, but you're in space. Okay. And it kind of looks like, I'm so confused. Like they act like it starts like to make them uncomfortable, and then the scientist is like, oh silly me, boop boop boop, and then he hits buttons, and then there's like sparkly lights, and then it's fine again for everybody, and it like, so then they go out. He mentions something about it being airtight, but there's suddenly just like gravity again, and they like all run out and get on the circle and go perform and da la la, and like there's not like a dome or nothing. Like, it's just, they open the roof and it's just the stars, and they don't get like sucked out or nothing. And like the people around them, all the scientists around them have like helmets and stuff so that they can breathe. They're just there, like like in their regular designs. They're not in spacesuits. They're in like their full glam with like their sparkles and stuff. He says it's airtight, but there's not like anything protecting them from the outside. Are the Barbies aliens? What is going on? Is that why they're able to time travel in the second movie? Is that what happens in the second movie? I don't know. And then so then it's the end of the end of the movie, and they're performing, and the lyrics to the song are literally just like, we're hot, let's rock. And it's like, but Barbie's also giving this speech at the same time about, she says, and I quote, today's the first world, she says, and I quote, today's the first day of world peace. If we want it enough, it won't be the last. Y'all are talking about being hot. What is this movie? And then it ends. So there was no problem to be solved. Things just happened and they went along with it. There were so many, like, the editing was weird. It was just weird, and it wasn't like a bad movie. Like, if I had seen that when I was like 6 or something, I would have been like, oh, I love this movie. Also, I would have had a fat crush on Ken, but that's besides the point. Like, it feels weird. Like, now that I have like developed neurons and my brain like functions and I'm sentient and stuff, and like I can like pay attention and criticize movies, it's weird because like the editing is freaking weird, and then like the plot, it just seems like it's like, you know, in WandaVision how like she is in control of the entire world and has control over everybody, and everybody's kind of like her puppets and they're like living out the life that she wants. It kind of feels like that, but for Barbie. It kind of feels like we're living in Barbie's head, and like we have like teeny tiny glimpses, the ittiest tiniest little glimpse where like something might be wrong, but then she's like, oh, it's fine, and then everybody claps. I don't know. It was crazy. Wow. I cannot believe you all must have seen that fucking chunk of hair that was sticking out of my hair the entire video, and nobody thought to tell me. You all were just gonna let it go and not let me know. You all weren't gonna let me know that I was not slaying. That hurts. Thought we had a better bond than that. Y'all are gonna get me fucking drinking again. So I think I'm gonna end this video here. I did mention this second movie. Hold on. Everybody calm down. It's okay. I'm gonna make another video dedicated just to the sequel because I watched it last night. Look how many notes I have. Look how much I have from just that movie. From just that movie. Just that movie. So yeah, so the plan is in the next video, I'm also gonna add another segment that I'm not gonna add to this video. If you've seen, you know that Ted Nivison video I referenced earlier in the video, the one where he watches all of the Barbie movies? First off, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Second off, he does this bit at the end, and like throughout the video, where, so his goal with watching all of the Barbie movies is to try to connect all of them within the BCU, or the Barbie Cinematic Universe. And by watching these two movies, I think it kind of proves his little theory right. And also I want to try and like, I am map padding the shit out of these movies for no reason. But I feel like I need to, because there's got to be something else going on, because if you watch the second movie, when we talk about the second movie, yeah, that was insane, and it implies some things, and it just, yeah, so the next video is going to be us deep diving that one movie where Barbie goes into the 1950s for some reason. Also, it kind of lies. It's technically the 50s, it's 1959. I feel like that's cheating a little bit. Also, that's the year that Barbie was created, and if we're going by Barbie lore, that complicates a bunch of stuff and like messes up the timeline. I'm making a timeline. I've gone so far down this rabbit hole, I'm making a timeline for these two Barbie movies from the 1980s where their total runtime, if you watch both of them together, is like 46 minutes-ish. I'm making a timeline. I'm making a timeline. But yeah, so thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in this next video. I know in the past, a lot of the times when I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make a part 2 or I'm gonna make another video to this, I say that and then I never do. This one is happening. I swear on this comb and on my wheelchair and on my 500-foot long schlong, okay? This is happening. I've typed out the script. I'm typing a script, guys. Like, I'm going insane. Like, I have a fat Google Doc. Like, this is happening. There is no way this is not happening, okay? Thank you for watching. Hit subscribe if you like and you want to see the next video. This was my first ever commentary video. I've watched a lot of them in the past, but this is my first time actually trying to make one, and we're gonna see what happens. The second one should be a lot better because I am using a format and scripting and stuff. But yeah, so stay tuned if you want to see me go down this fucking spiral and talk about the stupid, oh my god, fucking fever dream that is the Barbie Sensations Rockin' Back to Earth, the sequel to Barbie and the Rockers Out of This World. Two Barbie movies from the 1980s that nobody gives a shit about but me. Have a nice one. Don't do drugs. Bye.
When Barbie asked me to join the band, that's cool. Now I